Yo, what's going on, Senpai Squad? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're here with the Senpai Show. That's not an official title. I'm not too sure why. We'll roll with it. We'll roll with it today, but we're discussing Boruto episode 126, is it? Or 25? I should have had a look at that. But the latest episode of Boruto, I don't say this often, and I feel like for once in a long time, I'm going to finally be agreeing with a lot of you guys when I say that I thought this episode was absolutely fantastic. It's everything I've wanted from the Boruto anime now for ages. Absolutely ages. Well animated fight, choreography, everything. It had the lot. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I know for a fact that the majority of you guys are going to have loved it as well. So yeah, as you can see here, 68% of you guys said it was a 5-star episode. And like I've said a million times already in this video, I couldn't agree any more than I already do with that rating. So Skiddy chips in and says, great stuff. Animation and choreography were fantastic. Nice to see the Jogan in action again, although its abilities still remained the same. We didn't get any new info regarding the Dojutsu, and I don't think we'll get it in the nearby future. Shinki's human side was finally shown, and his little trolling at the end was super satisfying. The only issue I have is nerfed Urashiki that gets beaten by 2 Genins, even if he didn't go serious. And a lot of threads were rapidly closed at the end despite having one more episode of the arc to go. Now, starting with the Jogan, I completely agree with you. I'm not surprised that nothing new was shown of the Jogan because I'm sure the limitations on what they can actually do with that are absolutely out of this world. I mean, I'm sure the Jogan is being properly planned for a big reveal at some point in the manga. Now, when that reveal is going to be, honestly, I'm not the right person to ask whatsoever, but I'm sure it won't be too far away. And until that point, the anime is extremely limited, like it is with a lot of things with what they can do with the Jogan. So I think this whole sort of like seeing 10 dimensions, different dimension type ability that it's got, and the evil chakra, I think that's all we're going to get with the Jogan anytime soon. Maybe one more little thing, but in terms of like origins, true abilities, where it comes from, all of that type of stuff, that just quite simply, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. However, I am interested to see what Boruto and Shinki as well, now that he's seen it, to see what their reactions going forward are. I personally don't think Boruto is going to make much of a fuss of it because he's already sort of been past his Jogan phase. He might sort of think to himself that that was the same sensation that I felt before. And Shinki might mention it to Gaara, or maybe he'll keep it to himself. I'm not too sure. My vote would be that they're going to keep it to themselves for the sake of plot, because like I said, they can't reveal too much about it. However, just to be completely outside the box, I'd love for them to actually talk to Naruto about it, talk to Gaara, talk to Sasuke, talk to your friends. I'd love to see some of that. As for nerf to Urashiki, a lot of people were slightly disappointed in that, I think is a word that can be used. And I myself sort of am, kind of. I'm just glad that we got a good fight. I'm glad that we got to see more of Urashiki's abilities. We got to see more of the Rinnegan, and then just like his last appearance, I believe, you know, when we saw that Rinnegan for the first time in the Chunin exams, and we were all absolutely blown away, and it was one of his final moments. They've done the same thing again at the end of this arc in his final moments, showing us a blue Rinnegan, and it's just sort of like, what is this man? What possibilities can he conjure up with these magic eyes of his? So I'm sort of, like I said, I sort of agree with you on being disappointed that Urashiki was nerfed, because he was made out to be, well, you can look at it both ways. Either he was made out to be a lot weaker than he should have been, or Shinki and Boruto were made out to be a lot stronger than they should have been. You can look at it from both ways. Either way, at the end of the day, it was for the plot. And like I said, I'm sort of disappointed, but I'm just glad that we got a good fight at the end of the day. So my disappointment is sort of split 50-50. I liked it and disliked it at the same time. KSF Superstar says, yes, it was great, but how did Boruto and Shinki pull off those massive hits on Urashiki, but 2 Kage level ninja got outsmarted so easily? Doesn't make sense, but yay Kankuro for faking his own death, even though no one literally cared. Yeah, for Kankuro, we all said it when it happened, he wasn't gonna be dead. I mean, people were saying that, oh no, he appears in the manga in a frame, and it's like, even if we didn't know that, I think it was clear as day that Kankuro wasn't actually dead, so yeah, I didn't really care too much about that. As for Boruto and Shinki pulling off the moves, but the Kage couldn't, I sort of know what you mean. I suppose it's kind of like, and I feel as though maybe one of the reasons Urashiki was beaten-ish so easily as he was is, I suppose he wasn't actually that damaged at the end of the day, despite opposed from the horn and him actually starting to get a bit angry. But I suppose, and this is a really weak excuse, this is me sort of trying to play devil's advocate to it. I suppose you could say he's been constantly opening the time space dimensions. He was fighting against Gaara and Sasuke. He's been fighting against Shukaku. I suppose you could say he's been tired out, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's a pretty weak excuse to say that. I mean, so, I don't know. I don't know if you could say that, but I suppose you could say that. Lee Corey Tarplay says that they're teasing hard with Urashiki versus Sasuke. Also, the people complaining about power scaling obviously didn't see what happened to Urashiki. It's not like he was bleeding or anything. 1 or 2 hits isn't the end of anything, especially when they aren't lethal. So, sort of backing up what I was saying about how you could say, you know, he wasn't that injured opposed apart from his horn. As for the Urashiki Sasuke, I definitely think that this is the direction the anime is going in right now before the manga starts, because I don't think they will go into the manga territory, not the main manga territory anyway, with Jigen and Kara, until Urashiki's dealt with, unless Urashiki makes some crazy appearance in the manga, which as each passing chapter goes on is looking less and less likely. So I think the anime is going to do this big Urashiki saga, and then once that's finally finished and we do finally get the Sasuke Urashiki fight that's been foreshadowed now for a long time, that's then when we'll cover the main plot of the manga. The question is, how long is that Urashiki saga going to take, and how often is it going to happen? Because after this, obviously we know after this arc we've got the sort of like the 20th anniversary arc coming up. We don't know how long that's going to go on for. I've seen some people say maybe October to December, and then we'll get some news at Jump Festa, and then as we go into winter 2020 we'll obviously get a new arc and I think a new opening as well. People are saying that, but what comes after that? Are they going to go down the route of non-Urashiki related arcs again, and we'll get more arcs with like the Jugo arc and the Remen arc and the Mitsuki arc? Is it going to go more along all that type of stuff, or are they actually going to give us a well-structured story now involving Urashiki where it's arc after arc and they're all connected? Because that's one of the biggest problems with the Boruto anime, is that each of the arcs, they're hardly connected at all. They're all loosely linked together. Some of them are by a tiny little loose thread, but most of them, I mean, they don't really link together. And that's one of the things I want. I want to see this little Urashiki arc with the one-tail escort, and then I want another one sort of linking towards it, and so on and so forth. That's the main thing I'm looking for, and that's the biggest question I've got, and that's why I'm quite excited for Jump Festa. And knowing that's not too far away, really, that's going to be interesting. And I think we're going to finish off with this one. But Hyuga Prodigy makes a good point with this, saying that the episode has a great deal of hype and fan service, which also is, like I was saying at the beginning, is, along with the visual animation, like he said, is probably one of the main reasons that I enjoyed this episode as much as I did. But he also says that the power scaling is just pure BS, which diminishes this whole arc for me. Urashiki was supposed to be a big threat, with even someone like Toneri, Sasuke and Gaara have failed and yet got whooped by Boruto and Shinki when they shouldn't even lay a single finger on him. Even if he was toying around, then there's absolutely no reason he should have let them hit him and be slammed into a rock and get bruised by kunai. The fact that the Genins perform better than Sasuke, Gaara and Shukaku is just adding further insult to injury. And I think, again, like I've said before a million times, that is just carrying on from what I was saying about how it is sort of very, I say sort of, it's very, very plot convenient. You could even say plot armor on Boruto and Shinki's half, because yes, Uroshiki, at the end of the day, I'll be 100% transparent now, Uroshiki should have absolutely wiped the floor with him. And in fact, I think we'll have one more to end on a bit of a more positive note. Eternal Strike Gamer gave it a 5 stars, saying that this was easily the best episode for the arc. The fighting animation was insane. I really enjoyed the fight part when Boruto's Jogan activated. That gave me chills. We haven't seen that since episode 65, so it's good to see it back in action. Boruto and Shinki's teamwork during that fight against Uroshiki was so fun to watch. And at the end, it was something I loved. Next episode is going to be a fun slice of life one, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm just happy something major lit has happened with the anime and the manga of Boruto on this same week. And yeah, at the end of the day, I could nitpick and just critique it and just pull this episode apart as much as I want at the end of the day to just keep on probably lowering the rating more and more. But at the end of the day, the main reason I watch anime and I read manga is for entertainment. That is the number one thing I look for. And did this episode entertain me? Yes, it did. It was by far, and in fact, to sort of put into perspective how much it entertained me, it was the first Boruto episode that I've rewatched probably, I'd say since definitely episode 65, maybe towards the end of the Mitsuki arc. I rewatched the episode where they fought, was it Kokuo? I maybe rewatched that. Other than that, no episode springs to mind, so that sort of summed up how much I loved it. One last thing I want to actually quickly comment on was at the end of the arc when Boruto went for the fist bump. It reminds me of when I first covered the first episode of this arc and I was saying that people didn't want a rehash of Gaara and Naruto's relationship and end off with a handshake at the end, and I went, no, give me something like that. Give me some symbolism, but more modernised with a fist bump. And I thought we were going to get it. I thought we were this close to getting it, and Shinki would do it. I'm sure at some point when this Uroshiki saga or whatever it is ends, and if Shinki takes part in it, which I'm sure he will do, that's when we'll get it. We're going to get a fist bump, and I'm going to be so happy because it's what I've wanted from the first episode of this arc. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. As always, leave a like on the video as well. Subscribe if you're not already to become a member of the Senpai Squad. As you guys know, trying to hit 3K by the end of the year. Please try your best to help us out with that. I'll be seeing you guys in another video. But until then, peace. 寄せられた神々の化身恐れを知らぬ剣が貫く目指す場所とはまだ見ぬ定め近づいてくる決戦の時